Okay, hi everybody, welcome to today's lecture. Okay, so the title of today's lecture is Be a Believer. And yeah, it's got nothing to do with Christianity. It's about the self-belief you have and the self-image you project. So it's about having that belief that your plan will work, that the goals you set out will be achieved, and that the results will be according to your hard work and to the plans that you set out for yourself. So, be a believer. Now, I just want to quickly talk about last week, just to wrap up something about last week, which we spoke about the trust part. So the very first lecture was all about drive, that drive you must have, that obsession you must have. The trust part is when you bring someone along, you have a team member. So when you do something on your own, it's easy to have drive. But when you bring somebody along with you, then you've got to trust that person, right? You've got to trust that person that's also got the same drive as you, also has the same goals as you, also have the same beliefs as you. And that is the difficult part of it. But then we'll go on to the third part, which is belief. So you've got to first have the belief in yourself, and then the belief that you have in your team, okay, or the person that's coming along with you. So, just on the trust, you have to be trustworthy. Something you've got to be. Because remember, we're talking about the be, do, have. Be is who you are, your inner world. Do is the actions you take, what people see you do. And have is the results. So who you are today, it's not easy to see when you started, but there's always a beginning and there's an end. So there's a timeline. So the results cannot be determined too quickly, because there's a period and a process. So you know when you are going to build up towards your plan. In other words, you practice, and then you do the plan, which is the action, which is like in a game, it's like showtime, game time, and then the results is, did you win or lose the game? But there's preparation before the game. You just don't say, right, let's get a lot of people as a team and we go play on the field and we see the results. No, everything is preparation, and then it's the actual action and game time, and then the results. So be, do, have. So the be part is very much to do with your values, your principles, and who you are and what you believe in. So that the action part is actually just building your be part and building your character. You see, as soon as people try something and they fail, or then they give up and they don't try, so then you don't have character. But as soon as you believe something or you start applying something according to your principles, then the test will be happening as you apply it or do something about it. And then when you get to the end and the results, it can either demotivate you or it can lift you. Alright, so as I'm talking about belief and self-belief, I just want us to keep our little diagram in mind. Remember when we started on that little small circle? That is where you are, what you believe, what you do. It's the island, the one-man show. So if I've got a lot of drive and I trust myself, I trust my abilities, I trust my skills, I trust the plan that I have, because I've got the drive to get the skills to execute the plan. And remember, I'm always talking about entrepreneurship. So related to your career or related to the journey of the entrepreneur. So the journey of the entrepreneur is he must first have the highest skill set before he can get somebody to help him. And preferably that person must have the same skill set and better. So when you are talking about yourself, it is how much drive you have, how much obsessed you are of attaining your plan, your goals, your dream. So it starts with the inner circle, the small circle. But once you achieve it, what happens once you start achieving in, say, a 6 months period or a year period, a little bit of success in applying your skills and earning some money? Like, it could be like finding a good job or starting a business that is starting to become successful and sustainable. What happens then? You want to stay in the comfort zone. Why? Because you are happy with the results in terms of the money, how much you're earning, whether you're an employee, but we're talking about small business. So you might be happy with the profit you make after a year. So what we're saying is, after you are in business a year, or you're an entrepreneur after a year, you can stay in that comfort zone, or you can move out of that comfort zone. Now remember, the B do have, the cash flow quadrant, the quadrant we have of the employee and the owner or the small business, and here the large business or the big business, and here the investor. When you are got the small business or you're self-employed, you can stay in that column or that little quadrant and be very happy and satisfied. But you should be moving, trying to move. If you want to grow, you want to grow into big business. In other words, be a director of a big company, or own a big company, or control a big company. So you want to move out of that into that. So I'm mostly teaching entrepreneurs how to start a small business and then become into a successful business owner into the self-employment side, so that you don't fail. So after a period of about 5 years, you could be happy with it, but you should be moving into this quadrant over here. But as you grow, you will find you're extending your comfort zone, and then you might be happy with that comfort zone that you have, and unless something catastrophic happens, you won't move out of that comfort zone. So let's say you are moving to the next level, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you're moving to the next level after a year, or about 6 or 8 months, the first thing you usually do is you get somebody to go along with you on your journey. Somebody to help you, a partner, a manager, or an assistant, somebody to help you. And then it's you and that manager plus that person that's helping you. And then when you go out of that and you get complacent and you get achieved, and you've achieved your goals and your results, then you get out of that zone again, and it's now you, and not one person, but 2 people. And it could be 3 people and 4 people. And as you grow and get bigger, what do you notice will happen? The people or the staff will get bigger, and the challenges will get bigger. Every time you go out, it's bigger challenges, because it's bigger resources you have to have, bigger capital you have to have, bigger possibilities of failure. And then people get scared, because if you fail, you must never fail big. And then if you fail big and you go back to where you were, there it could damage your self-belief. People that win, do you think they've got abundance of self-belief? Yes. People that lose from time to time, do you think they've got self-belief in abundance? No. So what happens is, you've got to have short-term goals and long-term goals. If you don't make your short-term goals happen, you don't lose your belief. You just change your plan. So can you see, there's always an adjustment to fix the plan. So you believe in yourself, but you've got to believe in your plan. So even though you've got the skill set, you've got to have a plan to achieve the bigger goal where you're getting out of your comfort zone. Because remember, when you're getting out of your comfort zone, it's new area. You haven't quite found the way to make it work. So you're going to make mistakes. Every time you go out of your comfort zone, you make mistakes. It's inevitable. But you learn from the mistakes, so you adjust and you fix the mistakes. People that cannot adjust and fix the mistakes of their plan. How do you fix and adjust it? You make a new plan, or you adjust the plan. But you can't use the same plan and make mistakes. The mistakes is there for you to learn how to adjust your plan. And then once you've learned how to adjust your plan, then the plan always works and you stay back in your comfort zone again. And then you're ready to move on. You can't jump into the next zone too quickly, otherwise you're taking too much on yourself. Too many mistakes. And then you could lose everything. So you have to believe in yourself. And here you have to believe in yourself and the person that is helping you. And that's where trust comes along. And then when you get into the next stage, you've still got to believe in yourself. But now it just becomes a little bit more difficult because you have got more to lose. The bigger your business, the more you have to lose. So you've got to be very careful, and you can't be so careful that you don't try and you don't grow and you don't go out of your comfort zone. Okay, now just to talk a little bit again about the trust that I've mentioned to you. So you have to be trustworthy first before you can trust another person. So now let's say you are trusting another person, you've got to be trustworthy yourself. When you are trusting another person, you have to be wise. So one of the qualities you have to have in this thing is develop your skill of being wise. In other words, you know you can't trust everybody. So be wise enough to realize who you can trust and who you can't trust. And whenever you wanting to think you can trust a person, you must realize that it's a process. You don't just walk in and trust a person. You test the person. You give him a time period. You trust him with something, with a responsibility, with something for the pure reason to test him. And then after a period, you test him a little bit more. That is why employees, they never just start off at a work, even though they've got all the qualifications, they've got all the skills. When they walk in a job, they're going to have a probation period. They're going to have a test period. They're not really testing you about your skills. Oh, now why do they want to test me? Don't they believe that I've got the skills? You see, there's so much for that business to test. Do that person fit into the values of the business, the culture of the business? You won't know if that person is trustworthy unless you don't test him. Alright. What is, you know, companies and even business owners and entrepreneurs, you want an employee that is trustworthy. When you turn your back, you know he's doing his work. You know that he's positive towards the business. You can trust him with responsibilities besides of what you've employed him for. Okay, so that's obvious, right? So trust is a very difficult thing, but when you put your trust in another person, you must first make sure that you yourself is trustworthy. And when you trust somebody else, you must first make sure you were wise enough to trust that person. So that if that person lets you down, you don't put the blame on that person. You put the blame on yourself for not being wise enough to use the process of building the trust and testing the person and testing the person. If the person fails the test by the second period, what do? You leave him. You don't go continuing trusting the person because the skills levels is high. Remember, trust is a value of who you are. You cannot teach that. You can develop it through coaching. That's what I'm doing here. But you cannot teach it. It has to be a quality that you develop in a person. But the person is either trustworthy or is not trustworthy. Okay? You can't change the person. Alright. So that's all to do with the trust part. Now coming back to the belief part. Here I want to talk about the control. The control part. Okay. So many times people will believe in themselves or other people will believe in the person depending on the results they get. The have part, the results that happen. Right, so in other words, if I test you and you pass the test, then I will believe in you. Right? But but what I want to say is, who's in control when you are in control of your own life and the you part, the be part? You first start with you. Then you trust the other person and you believe in the other person. But first, you've got to trust yourself and believe in yourself. Then you trust the other person and believe in the other person. So it always starts with me, right? Now, when you look at the other person, to trust the other person or to believe in the other person, what do you see? You can't see inside his head or that person's head. So you are looking from the outside. And when we look at the outside, what do you see? You want to see, can I believe that in that person? Can I trust that person? That is why when you look at the outside, when you have to look at a successful person or a successful entrepreneur, what do you see? You will want to see how many employees has that business got? What car does that person drive? How successful does he look on the outside? Right? Because then you all can make up your mind where he is at the moment. Right? So you tend to look from the outside. But guess what? Businesses can fail and businesses can lose their way and have to readjust plans as well. So business cycle can be up and down as well. But you also know that you can put a belief in a company or a person, and that person and company can let you down dramatically one morning when you wake up. I'm going to give you a typical example, which is Twitter. You all know Twitter, right? Where's Twitter today? It's become X. Why did Twitter go bankrupt or have issues with money? All right? Because of the trust issues. People didn't trust Twitter. Too many bots, So when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he changed it completely. So remember, when a company is in dire straits, then it's ready to be targeted to be bought over by successful companies, right? So from the outside, it looks, hey, it's going to fail. Let's take it now to a game level. Let's talk about games like Springboks, because remember, I'm always, if I'm talking about games and I'm talking about coaching in games, we talk about the best coach in rugby, which is Rassie. And in the past, in the 90s or 10 years ago, we talked about the best coach being Alex Ferguson with Manchester United. So what qualities did Alex Ferguson have and what qualities does Rassie have to make them so successful? Because they believe in their plan, and they believe and they're in control of their self-belief and their plans, and no matter how it looks from the outside, if they lose a game, they're not now going to say, oh well, now I've lost my confidence, now we're going to lose again. They know, they're consistent, they believe in their plan, they believe in themselves. They are in control of their own beliefs. They don't need other people to say, hey, you're great, you're fantastic, you're successful. So a successful person never looks at the outside people to tell him he's successful. He knows he's successful because he knows his balance sheet, he knows his vision, he knows where he's going to. Alright? So it's very important to talk about the control part, because this belief that you have, as soon as you lose, or as soon as you think it's not going to work, then you lose the belief in yourself and you feel like you're no longer in control. Isn't that so obvious in sport and in business? As soon as you don't believe in yourself, you start losing control. If you don't believe in your plan, and you see the plan is not quite working out and you're not adjusting it soon enough, then you know you're heading for disaster. And that's going to affect your belief and your self-confidence and your self-belief. And the way it gets radiated, the way your belief gets radiated to the outside is what people see from the outside. So it's radiated by your confidence levels. A person that believes in his plan and his business and where he's heading, they've got a natural confidence. They don't have to drive a smart car to make them confident. They don't have to have show how many employees they have to make them feel confident or know. They look at their results, their balance sheet, and they know where is the next result or goals or targets to meet. So their confidence is not linked to any praise they get from the outside or any outside influence. Okay? So their belief is what I call the inner world, what they know. Like Rassie says, hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie. It's just the knowing that where you're heading and what works and what doesn't work. And then you get the results, and the results is the outer world. That's what people see. But the problem with belief and self-belief is, before you get the results, there's this period. And that period has got to be high belief in yourself 100% all of the time. Not being affected by a good time and a bad time, and a good business time and a bad month, and a good month and a bad month. No, it's something that is consistent, and you've got a plan for every down part and high part. And that is why you see when you're a small business and you grow, usually when you grow, how do you see it? Because the person diversifies. You have to diversify. Every time you get outside your comfort zone, that's when you diversify. So I've been doing one-to-one training all my life. I'm in a comfort zone with one-to-one training. But have I diversified? You see, have I moved further? Have I moved out of it? Yes, now it's web design, Redcom, I've diversified. But I've also diversified with Calvin Academy. And then I have to look at the success of every business unit and who am I going to bring along for every business unit. And then it's about the confidence and the belief that I have that I'm on the right track. Because from the outside, people might say, you've done nothing about Calvin Academy or one-to-one training. You've done nothing because I didn't see success. But you know the amount of success you get in the diversified businesses you have, and who is your team member or person that you can trust for every diversified business unit that you have. You with me? Okay? So it's a journey. So the last point I want to make is the practice. So because I say practice, it means you have to, when you talk about self-belief and believing in yourself, there are days when you don't feel confident and there are days when you do feel confident. Don't you think when you're winning you feel confident? Or when the client's money gets in the bank, you feel confident. But when there's a dip down, you don't feel confident. This is natural. So it has to be practiced. I've got to practice confidence. I have to practice believing in myself. I have to practice to say, yes, this is me. I will be successful. Alright? So I don't need to, when things go bad, go shopping to buy a leather jacket to make me feel boosted and feel successful. A lot of people do that when they've got a bad self-image or when things get to a bit of a dip. It's like they've got to go do shopping. They've got to pad up their outside look or appearance. Okay? So when you look at a person, you should always be walking tall. You should always have a positive attitude. You should always radiate confidence. So those things I don't even talk about. But the question is, do you believe in yourself? In your ability to manage a business, ability to grow a business, the ability to increase your skill levels, the ability to work your plan? Those stuff is all got to do with belief. Okay? So you've got to believe in yourself, because to the measure you believe in your abilities and your plan, that's what you radiate. And people will watch it. And they're not going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And you cannot fake believing in yourself. And when you say believe in yourself, it means your skill set and your goals of achieving your goals. remember when Christian came here for to learn graphic design, he was on the same level as all the students. And he's just grown and grown and grown and got out of his comfort zone and gone a little bit higher. And as soon as you push yourself higher, opportunities make themselves available. And you've got to grab onto the opportunities. You see, do you agree that a successful person has more opportunities than a less successful person? Do you agree? Do you agree that opportunities appear more for successful people than non-successful people? Yes. Every time you get out of your comfort zone and you grow your business a little bit more and you diversify a little bit more and you get a bit more people, you attract more on the outside than on the inside. And when you attract the opportunities, now you have to deliver. You cannot afford to fail. That's why people don't want to get out of their comfort zone, because the risk is so much higher. But guess what? The reward is also so much higher. So when you risk higher things, you better make sure that you believe in your plan. You believe in yourself. You believe in your inner world and not driven by the outer world or what you see on the outside. Because every time things get a little bit more difficult and there's a little bit more at stake to lose. So my question to you today is, do you believe in yourself? And then are you letting that belief of yourself control your actions? Or do you let the results control your actions or keep you in your comfort zone? So never let any mistakes, because when you go out of your comfort zone, there will be many mistakes and it will affect your confidence and it will affect your self-belief. But you've got to persist and stay there until it becomes the norm that you win. Like for example, let me give you the coaching story again, and with that I'll end. You know Coach Razor of the All Blacks, new coach, they call him Razor. He's got a short time period. So there's a lot of pressure on him. So many people don't believe in him. But he's got to believe in himself. When he wins, a lot of people will believe in him, and it's easier to believe in yourself. But when you're just starting out and you're losing and you're just starting out, the time gap, when I go like this with my hands, I'm talking about the time gap. He hasn't had time to prove himself. And he makes mistakes and it gets difficult. He's the one that's got to be absolutely sure he believes in himself. And his ability. And the results will happen in time. You see, further down the line, the results will happen. But does he give up? Or does he make excuses for it? No, you own the results. Alright. So with that, I'm ending, and I want to say to you, I'll see you next week at the next lecture. But let's keep on our track of having drive, trust and belief as part of the who we are, the be part. Thank you.